What's up, people? What's going on? Hold on, let me get some lights in here. Let me get some light in. There we go. That's me. Hey man, just on reserve. But you guys know, man. First of all, welcome to FlyWithO'BEN channel. Here we promote transparency and accountability equals to growth. And I was just sitting here thinking, thinking about I was just sitting here thinking like, man, this sucks, I'm just on reserve, this is terrible. And, I'm just on short call reserve, this is terrible. And like, I'm paying for hotels, they're using me for tons. And then I'm like, I had to check myself. I had to check myself real quick because the nerve of me to complain for living the dream I paid for just because I prayed for just because it sucks right now. The nerve of me. I just had to like check myself real quick, turn on the camera because don't get me wrong. Is this terrible? Yeah, of course it's terrible. Being a commuter and all of that. 100% is terrible. I'm not even about to slice it or not. I'm not even about to sugarcoat it and all of that. But this is what I worked hard for. This is my dream right here. So just because it sucks right now in the beginning, it's only going to get better from here. Because think about it. Short call reserve. I get on long call reserve with better seniority, which means I get to stay at home and all of that. And by the way, I got to preface this video because I got to do my best to always explain the terms I'm using because I understand my channel is not just about aviation. It's just about the growth we have as human beings on Earth. Because at the end of the day, I'm not just a pilot. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy who just happens to, I'm a guy who's, on YouTube, but I also happen to be a pilot, if that makes sense. I'm not a pilot YouTuber. I'm none of that. I'm just here to document my life and document my journey and the growth I'm having as far as, the way I want to go in life. But short call reserve is basically when you sit, it's about 2 to 4 hour caller, give or take, but you have to sit in base. And base is usually where most of your operation or most of your flight start out of. In my situation, I'm Philadelphia, but I live in Houston. My base is Philly. So most of my trip starts out of here in Philly. And then short call reserve is essentially, they have shifts on short call reserve that you get assigned. It counts as your duty. And duty is, you have a limited amount of hours, amount of duty day that is by the regulation and by the FAA that you could be on duty for. So short call reserve is about 2 to 4 hours, give or take. But long call reserve is about 12 hours, 12 to 14, give or take. So once I get into long call reserve, it's essentially a better quality of life, essentially. But at the end of the day, for those of you that want to be pilots or whatever, move in base. Make sure you live in base, especially when you get to mainline, which I'm in the works and I'm trying to strategize for where I want to end up at as far as, being in base and stuff like that. But excuse my voice. Excuse my voice, but it's just a little, it's just one of those things that happens when you go from Houston, high humid to like down up north in Philly to where it's snowing and cold. But no, I just had to turn on the camera and just check myself because if I'm really going to preach this whole transparency and accountability thing, I would be a hypocrite if I don't hold myself accountable. But no, just want to turn on the camera and talk about that. And I'm glad this video is under 5 minutes. I'm so grateful. But does it suck? Yeah, it sucks right now. But this is paying your dues to get to where you want to go to. Because this has been a dream of mine to get to a legacy. And I'm here now and I'm going to be pouting because I'm not getting used on reserve and I'm paying for hotels. I could get a crash pad. You know what I mean? There's ways I could make my life better, but strategically, I'm trying to play the long game. And at the end of the day, I don't care what nobody says. Seniority. For those of you that don't know what seniority is essentially when you get to a company, you get a number. And the sooner you could get that number, the better. Vacation, quality of life, trips, all of that. The longer you are here, the quicker you get here, the better your life will be 5 to 10 years from now, and you're always gonna look at it that way. But excuse my voice, but yeah, I just had to turn the camera and check myself live because, nah, boy, I can't believe I let that. Not that I let the negative thought or whatever, but it's just like I needed to check myself real quick. But hey, once again, this is Flying with OBEN, transparency plus accountability. If if you just got that dream job or you just get into where the dream you talked about, and you complaining, the nerve of you to complain about the nerve of you to complain and whine about the dream you pray for, about the work you pray for, the nerve of you. You should be grateful for the opportunity to be tired. You should be grateful for that. But hey, I digress. Catch you guys on the next one.